Hey guys, this is Rapid Talks. You know what time it is. It's time we talked about the old man of the Greek word himself. Zeus, the god of gods, the king of gods and men, the lord of Olympus, the greatest rapist in all of human history. Now, this guy is popularly famous for his many, 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 I can keep going, many wives and children. But we are not totally going on that in this video. We're starting from the very beginning. So, Zeus has a paradoxical birth because Kronos had heard the prophecy that his children will be his doom, so he decided to swallow them whole right after birth. I have no idea how that logic works, but this is the Greek word, so we will not question it. Now, Kronos ate 5 of the children: Demeter, Hestia, Hera, Poseidon, and Hades. When Zeus was born, Rhea, in fear of him being swallowed too, exchanged him for a rock wrapped in baby clothing and cobs and gave it to Kronos to swallow, and Kronos didn't suspect a thing. Maybe he was just too big to notice that rocks was hard. So Zeus, in solitude, was raised by a goat named Amalthea. He would drink from Amalthea's milk and nurture and grow rapidly, and was actually the first one to age among his siblings. That's why he appears older in depictions. Now, once when playing with Amalthea, he accidentally broke one of her horns, and that horn started sprouting infinite sums of food, which then came to be known as cornucopia, the horn of plenty. Now, onto Zeus's normal portrayal and symbolism. Okay, first, Zeus's two great symbols are lightning bolts and eagles. Eagles probably because of his Roman equivalent Jupiter Maximus. Romans just loved that guy so much they made everyone surrender to his will. And Greek depictions, he has much more things associated with him. Like he usually holds a scepter in hand, which is the meaning that he rules over a kingdom, which is Olympus, the skies, the heavens, the weather. And storms were associated with him. Every single weather was associated with him. Blessings and curses were associated with him. He had 2 jars, one for blessings and one for curses, and he would hand them out as he wished. And some Homer also describes him as Aegisbearing. So after Medusa was slain by his son Perseus, Athena put Zeus's head on an aegis around shield and gave it to her father. And Zeus now has a shield with a Gorgon head on it, so it could basically use to stone people still. And he sometimes gave it back to Athena because, one, Medusa was originally her priestess, and 2, Athena made the goddamn shield. Also, he owns a pet giant golden eagle named Aetos Zeus. Onto his roles and epithets. Since he was one of the oldest known gods in the Greek world, they gave him many names like Warlike, Oath Keeper, Guest Patron, Old Greek, and Savior. Now, his first wife ever was Metis, or Wisdom. which he married before the Titanomachy and the downfall of the Golden Age of Titans. So he is associated with wisdom as well. Now, so we go back to Metis. So when he exited the Cretan Mount Ida, which he was cared for by Amalthea, he married Thetis and disguised himself as an Olympian cupbearer for the Titan Lords. You know, the 12 siblings, including his father and mother. And with the guidance of his first wife, he slipped poison into his father's drink, which was so strong that caused Kronos to vomit so much that he ultimately disgorged his siblings whole and fresh. So while Zeus was born last, since he had aged before, he was now the oldest as well. This is the paradox. So, his siblings already had acknowledged his authority when he saved them from their own sadistic father. So they followed him into the battle to overthrow their giant, literally, obsessors. Helped by the elder Cyclopses, the children of Gaia, and the 100-handed Hecatoncheires, which Zeus freed all from his father's imprisonment, the siblings overthrew Kronos and the Titans during a decade-long war called the Titanomachy. See, the Cyclopses were awesome craftsmen, like way better than Hephaestus would have been. And they created Zeus's Elder Lightning Bolt, which was a lightning spear so devastating it could smite down anything in its path. Same Cyclopses created the pole arms of his brothers, the Bident of Hades and the Trident of Poseidon. Now, so Titanomachy was over, the gods had won, they now owned the entire universe, and thus they had to share the spoils. So the trinity of brothers, Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus, came together and asked, okay, so who wants what? Zeus said, I want the skies, I want to build the city of Olympus. Poseidon said, I want the seas, which previously belonged to the giants of the deep. And Okeanos, the titan of the deeps. By the way, Okeanos literally means ocean. And then remained Hades, who took all the darknesses and the realm of underworld and Tartarus, to make sure that the Titans, although not being able to die, being Athanatoi, deathless like the gods themselves, would be always chained down in Tartarus and never would escape. Now, although they had massacred their previous oppressors, they weren't unchallenged in their rule. There were two more events, Gigantomachy and Typhoeus. So you see, Zeus's grandmother, Gaia, the earth goddess, was actually very upset that her favorite son, whom she had helped overthrow her first husband, Uranus, or the sky, has been chained down by her grandson. So she gave birth to a new series of children fathered by the underrealm of Tartarus and named them Gigantes, literally giants. Now, these things are described in many ways. They say there was one for each god, so 12 or 13 giants, each uniquely bred to oppose one god. And they're usually depicted with serpent legs for some reason, I don't know why. Now, Gaia sent her giants to climb Mount Olympus from the very depths of River Styx to the top and overthrow the gods. But Zeus, being the horny bastard that he is, he had already fathered Heracles and Dionysus, and they helped in the war, and gods actually prevailed, and Gigantomachy was over. This enraged Gaia even more, so she gave birth to Typhoeus, a giant fire-breathing serpentine monster so mighty that even Zeus needed help from Hermes and Pan to defeat him after a cataclysmic battle. Now, as a young ruler, Zeus was apparently too prideful and petulant, so Hera, Poseidon, and Apollo, and maybe everyone else but Hestia, decided to teach him a lesson. Like, bro, you're the smallest one, stop being so fucking arrogant. So, while he was sleeping, they stole his elder thunderbolt, the one that basically destroyed everything, and bound him with 100 knotted cords. This was powerless, but the Nereid Fetish acted quickly and called Briarius, the Hecatoncheir, who used his 100 arms to untie him in a second. Wow, that was smart. Zeus brutally punished the 3 leaders of the rebellion, especially his wife and sister Hera, and they swore to never challenge him again. So you see, already you're starting to see his sadistic and ignorant ways, and this is his youth. Just imagine, as time goes by and his power grows, how much more sadistic and old-fashioned he remains. Prometheus, or Prometheus, as in English say. Prometheus stole the divine eternal fire of Olympus and gave it to the mortals, which the first man he created himself, and the first woman, Pandora, was created by Hephaestus, Zeus' son, from Hera. So we didn't cover this, but Zeus and Hera did actually have children. Hebe, Althea, Ares, and Hephaestus were his legitimate children, with basically everyone else in the Greek world being his illegitimate, like the judges of the underworld, Minos and Radamanthus and the other one, or Apollo and Artemis being twins from his mistress Leto, or Hermes, Dionysus, Heracles, Perseus. These were all demigods from Zeus that some of whom ascended to gods after their death. So, when Prometheus stole the fire and gave it to the mortals, and then by keeping away from Zeus the identity of a mortal woman, whose future son was prophesied to become greater than his father, Zeus chained Prometheus to a rock and tormented him for ages. Vultures were set upon him to eat his flesh eternally. But Prometheus still refused to reveal him the secret. In the end, for reasons we do not know, because a large part of the play where the story is told is lost, the Titan did tell Zeus that the woman in question is Thetis. So the gods stopped pursuing her and gave her to Peleus. The son born out of his marriage became a celebrated Greek hero, in fact possibly the greatest among them all, Achilles. See, his horniness always overpowers everything else. Zeus is wild, oh boy. According to Hesiod, Zeus had the very same problem with his first wife, Metis, one that their child may be a threat to him. Zeus decided to swallow his pregnant wife. He literally turned the Metis into a fly and ate her. How original! Did you steal that from your father? But Metis was so told she stayed alive in the vast realm of Zeus's stomach, and she actually gave birth to the child, Athena, which, for some reason, burst out of Zeus's head like his head exploded, and Athena crawled out, fully grown and armored and everything. And since she came out of the brain, she was the goddess of wisdom. And it is said that she has no belly button since she was born out of the brain of the, womb, since Zeus had none. Afterward, Zeus married Themis, who bore him the Horai and the Fates. If you don't know, the Fates are the Greek equivalent of the normie of Norse myth. They are 3 women, a young, a middle-aged, and a crone, that weave the destiny of everyone in the universe who was, is, and is to come. His third wife was Ephrinome, who brought the Charites to the world. His sister Demeter followed. She gave birth to Persephone, the wife of Zeus, who Zeus actually raped afterwards. I have no idea why he does this, incestuous bastard. With his fifth wife, Mnemosyne, who is actually his aunt and is a titan of memory, Zeus begot the Muses. So 9 days they slept together, and 9 children were born, which became the goddesses of art. After becoming Zeus' sixth wife, Leto became the mother of Apollo and Artemis. But Hera was so mad at this point that she ordered the entire land not to let Leto give birth, but a moving island accepted Leto, and when she gave birth, the island got chained down to the bottom of the ocean and became rock solid. Zeus' seventh and final wife was his sister Hera. Knowing her empathy for animals, he wooed her as a virgin by transforming himself into a distressed little cuckoo. A cuckoo bird, nice. Which Hera took in her arms to warm it, and that moment Zeus turned back into himself and slept with her. Ashamed, Hera agreed to marry him. See, do not learn strategies from this guy. This guy literally impregnated the entire Greek world. Zeus' lovers, like 7 wives wasn't enough. And Hera, as the goddess of loyalty in marriage, could not cheat, so Zeus took advantage and cheated with everyone he could see. Bearing the shape of many animals, he had numerous love affairs with many nymphs and mortals, which made Hera jealous. Some say that when she scolded him for this, disguised as a serpent, he even slept with his mother Rhea. Consequently, many gods and heroes are Zeus' children. It's impossible to list them all. So imagine there are 1400 gods, and most of them are just Zeus' children. Now, Zeus is pervasive in nationless resources. You can read about him practically anywhere. A good start would be Hesiod's Theogony, and Aeschylus's Prometheus Bound. See also Zeus' lovers, the creation, Titanomachy, and Hera. Articles related to him. Now, you see, this guy was the ultimate piece of shit. He did as he pleased, and no one could stop him because he was the god of gods. He took full advantage of that. And he boasted an old wise man wife to himself, and he just smote down anyone who disagreed with him. Reminds you of someone? I don't know. So yeah, this guy was a mother father gentleman. Subscribe to this channel for more videos about mythology and make sure to comment about what would you like next. Thank you for watching.